Hello.
Hey Niharika.
Hi Akshay, am I audible?
Yes, you're all clear. So,
Okay, great.
yes, so it's great having you on Cloud Community Days.
Thank you.
So, if you could go ahead and give a brief introduction about yourself and your topic,
Okay, yeah. So
that would be.
I'll be talking about diving into the world of spell checks. I could probably start sharing my screen, and then give a brief about myself. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure, Niharika. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Uh, yes, Niharika.
Okay, good. Hello everybody. I'll be diving into the world of spell checks. So this falls under the natural language processing aspect of the talk. And so before we get started, let's a little bit about me. So I am currently working as a machine learning engineer at TCS. So I predominantly build intelligent chatbots using open source natural language processing tools. When not at work, I contribute to running the PyLadies Chennai community and talks at other conferences. And I think with that, we can get started. So this is a pre-COVID era. Okay, this is a statistics which we have seen. Probably everybody in the year of 2019 have sent almost about 269 billion emails in that year, and which approximately is like 20 mails in a day. But you can kind of imagine in post-COVID area, this number will be pretty high. So what would you react, or how would you react when you have such a situation, right? So a spell check is very trivial if you think in the complete NLP pipeline, but very important when you look at it from the point of view that you make a mistake and you really hoped like hell that you can get that mail back and you can do an undo function, right? So just to give a brief of the various applications where spell checkers are used is basically you have your search. All of us make spelling mistakes when we have searches, and we have queries where they say search instead for this. So that is when we are so thankful that okay, the machine behind understands that we have made a spelling mistake, but is smart enough to recognize that and then provide a correct suggestion. So that is one where we use spell checks, and then we all use WhatsApp on a daily basis or send text messages. So at every instance, you have predictions, you have spell checks. So for example, here I tried to misspell the word conference, but then the keypad here can suggest that these are the probable words which you're trying to say, right? Or you are using your Microsoft Word or a doc where you're typing something and you see those small red lines beneath, and so that is where you can see a different types of suggestions which come out, and you choose. So when you're trying to send out a mail or trying to send a letter or an important document, you are thankful that you have this functionality inbuilt in your application. And the last is especially when you're trying to talk to a chatbot, be it using text or be it using speech, you don't want the chatbot to give you a wrong answer or just because you made one small spelling mistake, right? You want the chatbot to understand what you're trying to say, and even though you've made the mistake, give you valid answers. So this is basically what I'm trying to show is the outreach of or the kind of impact a small spell checker functionality has, and it is a very important process in the whole text pre-processing part of the NLP pipeline. So I'm sure yesterday's session, the whole NLP pipeline would have been covered, but this is something where this needs to be modified based on your use case. It needs to be used. Let's say you have an industrial applications which do not have the standard dictionary words, but you still want this functionality to be there, right? So spell check is one such functionality where you can tweak it, although it can be imported using just one line, which is what we'll be seeing in the upcoming slides. But you need to understand the various algorithms behind. You need to understand in which situation which algorithm to use and how you can tweak them for your particular domain specific use case. So that is with this in mind, we dive right into the kind of packages. So Python has a package for everything, right? It makes your life very easy. So NLTK, TextClaw, PySpell Checker are some of the very famous text preprocessing or NLP tools which are there. And like you can see, like I mentioned, you just have to import it and it's one line. Okay, let's say you want to correct your spelling using text block. All you need to do is b dot correct and you have the spelling. Or for example, you want to use spell checker and then you want to get the candidates. And you give a wrong example, for example, computer. The computer still understands and it gives back the right word. But there's a lot of algorithm which runs behind. And how is it that when you have kaput and kaputs and compute, how is it that the computer is able to give back one answer, which is computer, right? So we will dive deep into the kind of algorithms which are running behind and what really happens under the hood. So in a nutshell, if you see, that is the kind of flow of how a spell checker works, and what are the different types. So a spell checker, like you saw, it basically corrects the spelling and it gives back the probable suggestions. Whereas an autocorrector is something where you just get the best out of the alternatives and then it automatically corrects it. So it's 100% sure version of a spell checker. But underneath, you have three different main types which you need to focus on. So one is phonetics, second is edit distance, and the third is symmetric delete spelling correction, right? Phonetics is something where you work on the syllables, or basically on how they sound. So when you have homophones, when you have two words which are similar to, when you have names which have Smith and you have a name which is Schmidt. So both of them sound very similar, but the only thing different is how the spelling of it, right? So these are the things where you capture phonetics, and edit distance, which we will talk about, is basically on the string length and how dissimilar they are from between two strings. And symmetric delete spelling correction is by far probably one of the most widely used and one of the better alternatives of spell checker. So the main thing with spell check is when you have real word, when you have dictionary words, and you create an error in that, it's very easy to find it out and correct. But when you have words which are not dictionary words, when you have names, so that's when I think phonetics helps you do a better response. So you can see a very similar example here when you have break and break. Both of them have the same sound, but they have a different spelling, and they're used in different contexts, right? So we have two main algorithms, which is like SoundX and Metaphone. So from a Python point of view, from a user point of view, it's just one line. You import a package which is jellyfish, and then you call the SoundX function, and then you give the string. But what you can see in that is the response which you get is B620, and B620 is both of them are same. So when you have words which are similar sounding but different spellings, the key which is generated here remains the same. We also have another algorithm which is called as Metaphone, so which also gives back. It runs on a different set of rules and it's a different set of logic, but both of them give the same thing. So for a user point of view, you are able to distinguish, or you're able to understand that both of them are from the same are homophones, and then the user can move ahead and use it, try and apply it in his application. But in the behind that one small SoundX function, this is the complete algorithm which runs behind. So just to give a brief, when you have Smith and Schmidt, the example which I took, what happens is the first letter is taken constant. So the first letter, there's no modification done to that. And all the vowels and A, E, I, O, U are all dropped, and they're not taken into consideration. And you kind of group similar sounding consonants with a particular number. Like for example, you substitute M and N by 5, you substitute D and T by 3. So when you do that, whatever be your spelling, your SoundX key remains the same. And that's how you can differentiate between the two, and you can then use this key to make analysis or to further use it in your application, right? A metaphor is something which has a different algorithm, and that is something which I leave it to the users to explore. With that, we would then move on to the next one, which is basically edit distance. Edit distance is a very fundamental and very commonly used concept. So what it really does is you need to quantify when you have two strings, when you have S1 and you have S2, how different are they, and how many operations do I need to do in order to convert S1 to S2, right? So when you, for example, you have intention and execution here. So what are the different kinds of operations you can do? We can insert a character, we can delete a character, we can substitute a character, and we can transpose a character, right? So these are all individual operations with one cost. So when I talk about edit distances, how many such operations need to be done to convert the word intention to the word execution? So if you see here, the edit distance will be actually equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes four operations for you to move from intention to execution, right? So this is a very basic concept of edit distance. But now with the concept of edit distance itself, like you can see here, there are 5 different algorithms which work with different permutations and combinations and logic using the same 4 operations. So when you want to use it, it's again one line. You give jellyfish, you call the Levenstein distance algorithm, and then you give the 2 strings. What you can see here is when you say edit distance 2, it means it takes 2 operations to convert jellyfish to smelly fish, or be it jellyfish to FIHS. And here you have the similarity and similarity index. But how do you know all of them work on the same concept of edit distance? So when you're working on an application, how do you know which algorithm to use when and which is more useful for your particular use case? So let's dive deep into what Levenstein is, what Demirel-Levenstein is, and what least common subsequence is, right? So Levenstein is, it only uses insertion, deletion, and substitution. It doesn't take into consideration the transposition feature of it. So to give you a small example, let's say this is a very common mistake which all of us make, RECIEVE. So when you want to convert receive to the word RECEIVE, what you see is you need to do basically 2 substitutions, right? So that's why the edit distance is 2. But let's say you also have RECIEVE or RECEIVE and you want to move it to receipt. The edit distance is still 2. So both of them are valid suggestions, but both of them have very different, they are very different semantically, and they are used in very different contexts. So that is where I think Demirel-Levenstein algorithm comes into play, and it was introduced by a scientist or a computer engineer called Frederick Demirel, and he improvised it and came up with the 4th operation, which is transposition, where you can do character swapping. So when you have an edit distance 2 here, with this algorithm, you can do it using 1. And the least common subsequence is it's actually a competitive programming, an algorithm for those of you who have done that. So it predominantly just uses insertion and deletion. So just to give you an example how it differs. Let's say you want to move from kitten to sitting, right? So Levenstein uses just three operations. It uses substitution and then it uses insertion. Whereas longest common sequence, because it is allowed only insertion and deletion, it uses all the 5. It takes 5 steps to reach the same output. So this is where you see the difference between 2 algorithms, and you can take a call as to which algorithm you want to move ahead with. So just a few more examples, few more algorithms is Hamming distance. A Hamming distance only takes into the account of substitution. So when you only take into account substitution, you need to make sure that both your strings, the lengths are same. And when you move into Jarrow and Jarrow-Winkler algorithm, they only use it with the basis of transposition. So basically, you need to have, this is used when you have multiple words, not just one word. So that's where edit distance and Levenstein distance kind of fails, because when you have 2 or 3 words and you have mistakes in each of the word, it takes so much more time and so much more operations, right? So then we come to the last part of the whole spell checker, is the symmetric delete spelling correction. This is something which is 1 million times faster than any other algorithm which we have discussed. But why is that? It's because it only uses the concept of delete only candidate generation. So it doesn't do insertion, it doesn't do substitution, it only does deletion. But how it does is it has a dictionary behind. So it has a corpus, and the dictionary will have words and the frequency numbers, right? So let's say let's say you have a word goal, or you are inputting GOA. So the dictionary will already have the word goal and goat. And let's say you delete a character, you delete the last word L. So what you get is you get GOA and you get an input entry of GOA. So basically, you do not do any alteration to the input entry. When you modify the dictionary entry and you simultaneously also modify the input entry and make sure those two deletions match. If that is the case, then that particular word which is in the dictionary is right. So this concept helps you, instead of having 3 million possibilities, it helps you to generate only 25 possibilities for a word, for a 5-letter word, which with an edit distance of 3. So this is why symmetric, which is basically SymSpell. So that's the package which can invoke this, and these are the functions which you have: verbosity and max edit distance and word frequency dictionary. So you can customize whether you want the top just one suggestion, or you can customize if you want the closest one, or if you want all the suggestions, you can do that too. So again, an edit distance is, like you said, you give a maximum edit distance which you want the SymSpell to do the number of deletions. And so the create dictionary and the load dictionary is where SymSpell wins, is because you can create your own dictionary with your own words and frequencies. So if I'm working on a corpus which is very different and very specific to a particular domain, let's say retail or medical, this is where you can customize it to your use case and use it. So I do have a small, so SymSpell is something which cannot be imported using just one statement. So I could just show, or probably I could send that link to Akshay, where it loads the dictionary and creates it, and then you give a sentence, and there are basically 2 or 3 different kinds of functionalities. You have a lookup functionality, you have a lookup compound functionality, where you pass on one word, and it is able to check from the frequency dictionary which we have loaded, and then it gives back the response. Or even if you want to segment your word, let's say you have the quick brown fox and you have it without a space in between, it will help you to segment it into words and give out the response, right? So with that, I would love to take any questions with